3 for the first time, under, of course, the Cooper Tire sponsorship into turn number 4. Very quick flick to the right. Got to be so careful of that sausage curb on the inside. And it's Marvin Mackenberg that, of course, is able to lead from Pavel Mukonin. Then comes Lloyd Bidoff and Gregor Kudjek, our championship leaders, by the way. Bidoff and Kudjek, albeit their roles in the championship reversed as to what they are in the race as things stand. Shores Oyster versus Nenad Vanasavljevic. This is absolute carnage for Zvonimir Burek, the Dutch Sim Racing Team driver, having off through turn number 7 up the slight hill towards one of the most fun corners in all of motorsport, and then of course one of the most infamous as well, into the corkscrew for the first time, and Pavel Mukonin trying to apply the pressure on Marvin Mackenberg as they dip their way down through one of the most iconic corners in all of motorsport history, and then into a very fast and flowing final sector. Let's see if Pavel Mukonin is able to close the gap. These two fighting tooth and nail for the final place inside the top 3 in the championship. Both of them have come to blows before. They've both given us some spectacular battles before as well, and still with 23.5 minutes to go in this race. Lap 1 is in the books and plenty more racing to go with it. Just a quick rundown, by the way, of the championship. We've got Gregor Kudjek from Lloyd Bidoff, 5 points between the pair of them. Then 48 points back from them is Marvin Mackenberg. Then Pavel Mukonin separated by just 6 points apiece in the fight for the final place inside the top 3, and thus some nice cash and money to go with it on the run up to Christmas. Pavel Mukonin is practically pushing Marvin Mackenberg through the first couple of corners and into turn number 3, because technically the Andretti hairpin is turn 2. I don't agree with it either, it's fine. That's a bit wide from Lloyd Bidoff in the background. Don't forget he's going to be fielding a bit of ballast going his way. It's going to be 20 kilos going the way of Gregor Kudjek, then 15 going the way of Lloyd Bidoff. So hefty little bit of ballast onto their respective cars, especially at a circuit like Laguna Seca. A lot of undulation, a lot of acceleration zones, a lot of changes of direction as well, and that's really where having a lighter car is going to be beneficial. So the likes of Pavel Mukonin and Marvin Mackenberg, who have got a slightly lighter car compared to their 2 main championship rivals, it's going to be good for them, beneficial for them to maintain that track position. Shout out to Pascal Jean-Pietro, by the way. He's up there in 5th. He's got Shores Oyster for company in this fight for the final place inside the top 5. The pair of them have had an up and down season. Shores Oyster, of course, in 6th place in the championship, just 1 point behind Vanasavljevic, and will be overtaking the Serbian driver as things stand after this race. But PJP really hasn't been able to hit the ground running this season. A lot of bad luck, a couple of skill issues going his way, but nonetheless he's fired back on all cylinders here at Laguna Seca. A little bit further back there you can see Vanasavljevic, who I think did get caught up in a couple of lap 1 shenanigans. He's going to be looking to make his way back through into the top 10. First up on the list is his countryman Kabaya, inside line for turn number 2, and nicely done from Vanasavljevic to find his way through. You've just got to seize the inside line, and as you can see, as the track sort of narrows in on the exit, not really much you can do in terms of a move to the outside. You are basically 9 times out of 10, unless the guy on your inside is a absolute saint, you're getting pushed off. There's no two ways about it. It's just one of those, I don't want to say axioms, like known universal laws of racing at Laguna Seca, but you're going off. It's almost inevitable. No matter how nice of a driver you're racing with, 9 times out of 10 they are going to naturally push you off. Nonetheless, Pavel Mukonin fighting still with Marvin Mackenberg, who apparently is up 8 places from a starting position. Not entirely sure if I believe that, to be completely honest. But nonetheless, working their way through corkscrew. Pavel Mukonin, a lot of bravery to run that close to the back of Marvin Mackenberg. Of course, a driver that has taken a number of race wins thus far this season already. Missed the opening round at Donington a few weeks ago, but has been firing back and really persevering through this season, and definitely has a good chance at being one of the front runners. Defensive into the final corner, though, forced is Marvin Mackenberg. That's going to allow Pavel Mukonin to try and get the up and under. He definitely has got the drive. Has he got the speed on this pitch straight towards turn number 1? He has got the inside line, he has got the overlap. Marvin Mackenberg then is going to be forced to give it, but just able to edge his way over is the Hyundai, parking it in the middle of the in the course as well. Here comes Lloyd Bidoff. He's closing the gap onto the back end of Pavel Mukonin. 20 minutes left to go. Gregor Kudjek not a million miles away either. So very stout defending, it must be said, from Marvin Mackenberg. He's just able to position the car exactly where it needs to be, i.e. in the middle of the track, giving Pavel Mukonin that choice. You go tight and you run a good risk of overshooting, or you try and go to the outside. And like we've already said, outside of turn 2 at Laguna Seca really does not work. Of course, hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, everyone, into the T6 Motorsport YouTube chat. Hope you are enjoying the coverage. As per usual, if you are, of course, make sure to like, subscribe, turn the bell on for notifications, and there you go. If you really like a bit of T6, as Sebastian Ray really likes the rear end of Pascal Jean-Pierre there, and indeed so he's going to force him wide and force the Swiss driver behind not only Sebastian Ray, but Stu Neal as well. The two of them going to do some battling side by side into the corkscrew. Sebastian Ray, though, able to thwart the attack from Stu Neal, who sort of half-heartedly looked to the outside. To now the final few corners. This long left-hander, one of my favourites around Laguna Seca. It flows really nicely. Pavel Mukona, though, switching to the inside of the final corner on Marvin Mackenberg. The German sees it coming and has to sweep to the outside. He's going to keep the lead of the race for now. Lloyd Bidoff, though, with that backwards momentum, might well be able to get it in one fell swoop. He's a little bit too far back. Marvin Mackenberg and that straight line speed of that Hyundai is able to keep him just enough ahead. Pavel Mukona now under pressure as Lloyd Bidoff is searching for a gap. You can see really using the sort of extra track that you've got where those braking markers are. You can use that. It's slightly elevated, slightly raised, but you sort of use that to swing the car in, and it definitely helped Lloyd Bidoff close the gap on Pavel Mukona. It didn't quite allow him to overtake the Russian driver, but plenty of opportunity still with 18 minutes to go in this race. We've got 4 drivers, by the way, nose to tail amongst each other. I'm not going to try and describe that relative to each car, because last time I did that I got the absolute mick taken out of me, so I'm not going to do that again. We could also have 5. I think Shaw's also, well, we'll see. He's about a second off Gregor Kujek, so he's actually quite close to the back of these guys, and if they continue to battle, we could have 5 cars in the contest for the race victory of race number 1 here at Laguna Seca. Approaching our way into the tail end of the season already. I mean, we've got 16 races. We've got today, we've got Assen, and then we've got the Red Bull Ring. So in fact, actually, this is rounds 11 and 12 of the championship. When we were at the Bilsterberg a week ago, kickstarted the second half of the season. Now we're firmly into it. Just a handful of rounds left to go before we then look forward to the very exciting prospects of 2025. All news, of course, will follow in regards to that, so make sure you are joining the T6 Motorsport Discord if you're interested in maybe getting yourself involved in one of the championships. Was the focus maybe slightly shifting towards R Factor 2 and the fantastic championship that we've got going on a Tuesday over on R Factor. A brilliant sim that is, and of course you've got the very capable hands, I suppose, albeit very little hands, of Darren Thacker. And his new friend as well. He's got to buddy him in the commentary box because he didn't want me, apparently, so it's fine. Apparently he's known him longer or something. I'm not salty about it. It's fine. It's not heartbreaking. I'm really offended. Me and Dara travelled halfway across the world together, and he doesn't want me in a commentary booth with it. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. Not salty whatsoever. No. My focus firmly is on this race. So much better than Dara Thacker. Pavel Mukona is looking on the back of Marvin Mackenberg, trying to find a way through, but for the last 9 minutes, every attack has been thwarted by the German driver, who's really impressed on home soil thus far this season. Not the best of showings at the Bilsterberg. Of course, towards the back end of the top 10, a couple of incidents really did knock him out of contention. That did cost him quite a few points in the championship, because prior to the Bilsterberg, it was actually a case of sort of, hang on, Marvin Mackenberg has got a good chance of maybe going for this championship. I think the Bilsterberg was a slight hindrance, maybe, a slight pivot point in this championship that maybe brought that more to a dream than, you know, genuinely considerable reality, I suppose. Lloyd Bidoff falling into touches of his championship rival, by the way, just to remind you in terms of the points that the gap is between them. Lloyd Bidoff got himself a couple of point penalties based off a couple of incidents that he was found guilty of last week at Bilsterberg. So the gap, instead of being 3 points, is now 5 between Gregor Kujek and Lloyd Bidoff, of course in favour of Gregor Kujek. So the Slovenian's still leading the way in the championship, but by much. Very much for Bidoff to regain that gap and maybe flip heads in this championship once again, just with, you know, if you discount this race, 5 races left. We've got race 2 and then race 1 and 2 and then race 1 and 2 again, and already that's going to be another season in the books. The speed that they carry through that left-hander is absolutely staggering. Even sort of in these front-wheel drive touring cars where you wouldn't expect a lot of speed to be taken, they are just nailing it. The confidence that these drivers have got, of course, using the camber and the undulation to their favour every which way possible. Just the speed is fantastic, and again showing the level of competition that we've got for the T6 Motorsport Super Touring Championship. Of course, here in Season 4, we've had a lot of people come and go. We've had a lot of people stay, you know, big names. Lloyd Biddulph, who only had a one-season sabbatical, our double champion of Seasons 1 and 2. The Mackenberg brothers, Pavel Mukkonen joining us, I believe it was sort of early Season 2. Pavel Mukkonen, though, I think, speaking of the Russian driver, does pull alongside Marvin Mackenberg, but again doesn't quite have the legs on the straight to compete. He's going to have to be brave, but I think Marvin Mackenberg just going to slightly give him the squeeze into turn number 2. Later on the brakes is Pavel Mukkonen. We could see a change for the lead here. Marvin Mackenberg trying to go to the outside. Pavel Mukkonen naturally going to give him the squeeze. Forced wide is the German driver, and forced to concede is Marvin Mackenberg. Pavel Mukkonen goes through, takes the lead of the race, just over half of it left to go, and that is crucial for Pavel Mukkonen to seal the deal. Marvin Mackenberg now has to turn defense into offense and get after Pavel Mukkonen, but before he can do that, he's got to pick himself up while still under pressure from Lloyd Biddulph, who is by no means going anywhere in this battle. He still sees himself as one of the favourites to win, even with that added 15 kilos of ballast, I should say. What race this is turning out to be. Laguna Seca never does disappoint. I remember, of course, on the Tuesdays, the R Factor, the T6 Motorsport Touring Championship, not Super, because you know, we're Super over here on Sunday, but the race that we had, or races I should say plural, at Laguna Seca were actually really strong. And Laguna, while it is one of the most demanding circuits in the world, especially in front-wheel drive touring cars, it somehow lends itself to being one of the best racetracks, despite how tight and technical it is, how little margin for error there is. Something about this track just allows chaotic racing. Now just over half of the race still to go. But I'm still on the back end of Marvin Mackenberg. That was a bit wide in the background. I think it might have been Shaw's Oyster. Indeed it was in 5th. So train in the back of this train ever so slightly, but still plenty of opportunity. I mean, any small mistake from any one of these 5 would really be costly for them. I mean, again, Sebastian Ray is a few seconds back, but again, that's not unattainable. Pavel Mukkonen, though, ever so slightly now starting to edge himself away from Marvin Mackenberg. What a result that would be for Pavel Mukkonen. He's one of those drivers that has got so much potential. Just for whatever reason, I mean, he's been unlucky earlier in the season at the Lausitz Ring. Remember the dreaded T6 curb wall thing that just didn't look like it should exist, but very much existed to the front end of Pavel Mukkonen's car. A couple of mistakes from him in terms of sort of not driving as cleanly as he would like, a few scrappy errors, a few sort of times where he's just genuinely not quite been on the pace. But once he does deliver, once everything is switched on for Pavel Mukkonen, my goodness, is he a force to be reckoned with on this grid. And like I say, we've got such a high level of competition. If you look anywhere at high level race room esports, you've got the Mackenberg brothers. And a lot of these drivers as well will be recognisable, hopefully moving forward into 2025 as well. I know we only had one ranked championship. Yes, we did only have one ranked championship in 2024 this year. 2023 had two, I think. 2 whole seasons of ranked racing. But yeah, I really hope we see more of them fighting at the front end. I mean, T6 is the front end. Don't really think there's a higher touring car contingent in terms of yeah, definitely in terms of race room esports. Obviously, in the world of R Factor, you've got other people, but I don't think they do it quite as good as T6 do. And if you are sat there at home and you're thinking, you know what, I quite like these guys are all right, might want to stick around, maybe I want to have some of their merch. You can. There's a link in the description. There'll be a QR code popping up periodically throughout the stream as well. You can scan that as Lloyd Biddulph looks to try and find his way through on Marvin Mackenberg. No way through, of course, on that occasion, but you know, there are mugs, flags, t-shirts, and by the way, I'm not going to make a snarky comment this week because I am going to end up getting a t-shirt. It's my early Christmas present from Rich Wetherill, who is a fantastic boss, and I know I usually go, I'd love to vouch for the t-shirts, but I've not got one. Trust me, first broadcast back after Christmas, you're getting a review, and you guys are then, after you've listened to my review, you're going to be so captivated by the quality of the t-shirts, you're going to have to buy one. Lloyd Biddulph looking to buy himself a ticket into second place in this race as well. Greg Kujek, of course, there in fourth, trying to take as many points or limit the amount of points being taken away from him in this championship. Right now being sat there in fourth compared to Biddulph's third means that Biddulph only going to be gaining 2 points as things stand. It's going to be, of course, 15 to 13 swing. So the gap will close to 3. Of course, pending any fastest lap points, but again, I'm not entirely sure that's going to go the way of Biddulph nor Kujek. I think it is going to go the way of Pavel Mukkonen. To the corkscrew, the sparks being kicked up. Looks like it's the 5th of November all over again here in the UK, which was actually quite a nice day in terms of weather, and then sort of the week after that it just turned completely freezing cold. I don't know about anyone else living in the UK, but has anyone else just been really cold? No matter what, it has been cold. I know, funnily enough, it's almost like we're going into winter, but that's besides the point. There's a look a little bit further back. This is Boyan Kabaya on the rear end of Rus Butcher, who's had a really nice race actually. Climbed his way into 10th place, and for him that's a pretty substantial result. Looking at the championship, Rus Butcher, of course, a little bit further down in 14th, only 25 points to his name coming into Laguna Seca. Right now looking to try and bag himself at least a couple more in race number 1. As that's wide, and he's going to drop outside of the top 10. Kabaya goes through, and the Serbian driver takes that top 10 away from Rus Butcher, so a short-lived success there. Just had a look as well, we've lost Piotr Blachak and Pascal Jean-Pietro from this race, both of them at DNF, so a shame for Pascal because he was running up in the top 5. It was Jules Oyster in 6th, so everyone got promoted. Completely missed that. I think we were focused on the fight at the front, but again, I think just goes to show how unfortunate of a season PJP has had. In the sense that really nothing's gone right for him, whether it's technical difficulties or whatever. It has been a tough season for him. Lloyd Biddulph practically pushing Marvin Mackenberg quite literally through the corkscrew. I think, well, I genuinely don't think he could have gotten closer to the rear end of Marvin Mackenberg unless he wanted to be chemically bonded to the rear bumper. And I love the level that we've got here, the trust that these drivers have. They've been racing each other maybe for months, years, seasons. Over their racing careers. They know each other to a T. They know how each other race. They know how to attack, how to defend, and the trust that they have in each other to run this close and not be scared, not back down, and have that confidence to push is incredible. Hope it's making for good viewing at home. You can see there Sebastian Ray, oh no, Sebastian Ray, Jules Oyster, Sebastian Ray just a couple seconds back. I think the gap has closed though, onto the back of Jules Oyster. It's all aboard the Mackenberg Express as Mukkonen starts to ever so slightly creep his way away from the four behind. Of course, you might be noticing in the top right of your screen, Garage DuPont, and of course, Udressi's Garage as well. Big thank you to them as our series sponsors, giving us the support, of course, to facilitate the prize pool for these seasons, of course, with the big smackaroonies that we've got on offer in terms of prize pool. In terms of the prize pool, first place, of course, getting themselves £200 cash, second 125, and third 75. And then, of course, the T6 t-shirts for those that attend every single round this season as well. So without their support, of course, it wouldn't necessarily be possible to attract these big names with some pretty nice money in the bank to go into the holiday season. Has everyone started their holiday shopping? I know I haven't, and I definitely need to get on that. Vlada Savlovic, though, going shopping, he wants 7th place in this race. He's going to look to the outside of the penultimate corner. That is an absolutely outrageous move from the Serbian, and his racecraft knows no bounds for Nenad Vlada Savlovic. He stops it nicely on the apex of the final corner, using the camber of the track to his advantage. A bit more on the inside than the outside, but knew full well he could sweep his way the outside. And Vlada Savlovic goes through to 7th place, taking over Stu Neal. just less than 5 minutes to go. Stonehill looks for a counter-attack, but look at that. The gap may be momentarily opening up on the inside, but only because Vadisavljevic used that concrete on the outside of the track, really to just sweep his way through turn one, open it up and take it as one long arc rather than two separate corners as such, which is, if you only use the white line, it's sort of what you're limited to. And there we can see Gregory Kijek, Pavel Mikonen taken off. There he is in that white Cupra, all the way out in front. Rafa Mackenberg though, 2 seconds back. It's not like Mikonen is home free. One small mistake for the Russian driver, and you know, that is it. That 2 seconds is gone, and over the gravel trap or anything like that, and very easily he could lose 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 places. This is Shaw's Oyster on the back of our championship leader, applying the pressure more to the rear end of Kijek than Kijek is replying to the rear end of Lloyd Biddulph. 3 minutes 40 to go, running 1.5 minutes a lap. I think we are just about going to get 3 more laps at the line. Line stern between the 4 of them. Let us know in the comments, by the way, guys, those that are watching along. Of course, like, share, subscribe to the channel. Make sure as many people get as many eyes as we can on the T6 Motorsport Super Touring Championship and T6 Motorsport in general. But let me know, what are your standout moments of the season been? Any sort of drivers, any drives, any tracks, any weeks that stand out to you as pretty decent races? I remember Donington produced some fantastic action. So of course, would be nice to hear from you guys watching on. Of course, drivers of other T6 championships, teammates of those that are racing, friends, family, whoever are tuning in to support. You are grateful, you are seen every week, and it's very it's nice to have your company, because unlike Dara, I don't have someone in the comment box with me, because Dara he doesn't want to be in the comment box with me. It's fine. Yeah, you guys keep me good company, and always interesting to get your thoughts on things, any incidents that happen, see if you guys can give you 2 pennies worth, how you'd think, how you'd approach that certain situation. Left to go, so that means we are on to the penultimate lap of this race already. We're going to get 17 laps per race, so look out for that. You're going into race number 2. Of the essence. Are we going to see any big movers? I think they're all sort of equidistant, sort of at a stalemate. They're all so closely paced, but unable to just execute that little bit extra to close the gap. I mean, Lloyd Biddulph did a decent job through the corkscrew, but it's more the Costatina effect than anything. Closing in under brakes and then being stretched back out again as soon as the power gets applied. 40 seconds on the clock. We are going to go on to the final lap of race number 1. Closer to 0. It does mean 1 more lap of race 1. Let's see. I mean, Pavel Mikonen 2.7 seconds clear of Marvin Mackenberg. That seems like a pretty done deal, to be honest. There's not much that Mackenberg can do in order to close that gap. All he's got to do is facilitate second place He will be losing some points to his championship rival, though. That fight for third between Pavel Mukkonen and Marvin Mackenberg, 6 points, going to halve now, at least. Depends, obviously, Pavel Mukkonen. I don't know who got pole. I most definitely do not know. I think it might have been Pavel Mukkonen, actually. Unless it was Marvin Mackenberg. It might well have been Marvin Mackenberg. Either way, fast lap points and stuff. At least going to be coming down by 3 points and halve it. So Pavel Mukkonen still got a chance for 75 Great British pounds of cash money prize going into his bank account at the end of this season. Final couple of corners though, and there you can see Pavel Mukkonen about to enter the final of it. For another time this season, Pavel Mukkonen will rise to the occasion. Cannot remember the last time he won it in race 1. He's had the top form, he's had the pace, he's had the execution, and here at Laguna Seca, it's Pavel Mukkonen that wins race 1. It's a drag race to the line. Lloyd Biddulph able to pit Marvin Mackenberg to the line for second place and take some crucial points off his championship rival of Gregor Kidjek, who finishes in 4th. What a dramatic end to race number 1 it was then. Just looking for the rest of the drivers as they make their way across the line. We'll confirm the final results as soon as we can, but that was huge from Lloyd Biddulph in order to bridge the gap in the championship. 5 points was the gap. P2 for Biddulph gets him 17, 13 going the way of Hujek in 4th. A 4-point differential, bringing the gap to just 1 singular point between the top 2 in this championship. What an absolutely spectacular race. What, again, an absolutely spectacular season that we've got in store as well. We're waiting for Nikita Grau to make their way across the line. I think also maybe Camano. Just by the way, on Nikita Grau, for the driver that spent the best part of the season in the negative points, already back nicely into positives. He's 4 points positive ahead of Zvonimir Burek, Patrick Blacek and JC Camano, this driver right here in the Hyundai. He comes across the line. That concludes race number 1. It was, unsurprisingly, Pavel Mukkonen that got the fastest lap point. Lloyd Biddulph, though, able to pip him to 2nd ahead of Marvin Mackenberg in 3rd. Look at how close those fastest lap times are between each of them, and the consistency was there. Shaw's always to the top 5. We'll start from pole position for race number 2 ahead of Sebastian Ray. Then comes Ender Valasavljevic, Stu Neal, Sven Mackenberg, and Bojan Kapai at the top 10. I'm going to step away for a couple of moments. We'll be back for race number 2. Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen. Race 2 of this evening, round 6 of the T6 Motorsport Super Touring Championship. Season number 4, of course. We've routed our way through the 4th edition of this fantastic championship, and the gap is closed at the front to just a single point between Gregor Kucek, our championship leader, and Lloyd Bidoff, a close adversary in second, one of whom the favourite to take the championship after his teammate Gasparak did it a season ago, the other the only two-time champion of the Racestream Touring Car Championship that we have got here for the Super Touring Championship, and we've only got a handful of races to decide it. Race number 2 here at Laguna Seca. It's Shaw's Oyster on pole position. Championship leader Gregor Kucek alongside. 25 minutes on the clock. Back here again at Laguna Seca, waiting for the private lights to go out and send us underway for some more racing action. A good start from the front row. Marvin Mackenberg got away as well quite nicely. Lloyd Bidoff tucked in quite calmly onto the back end of Gregor Kucek. He's just looking to try and sort of freight train his way through. Stuck on the outside there is Marvin Mackenberg. That's not going to thwart him from trying it on the outside to facilitate a second place. Lloyd Bidoff then naturally going to try and push him out wide. Marvin Mackenberg gets the understeer. That's going to promote Lloyd Bidoff through into third place. Nicely done. Shaw's Oyster then is able to lead from Gregor Kucek. Behind that then is Bidoff from Mackenberg. Pavel Mukonin, our race 1 winner, unable to make some more progress from 5th place. Vadisavljevic as well has worked his way through from what was 7th place in race 1 up already into 6th. Side by side between the two championship leaders, of course, Kucek versus Bidoff. Whoever comes out on top in this race will be leading the championship going into Assen and the Red Bull Ring. Lloyd Bidoff having to give Marvin Mackenberg the squeeze as the German driver is forced to concede up the hill now towards the corkscrew. 24 minutes left on the clock, as lap 1 is yet to even be in the books, and yet we've already had a race load of action. Pavel Mukonin under pressure. Sebastian Ray looks to the outside of the corkscrew, thinks better of it on that particular occasion, and understandably so. Pavel Mukonin, though, be interesting to see if he's able to work his way forward. He's definitely got the pace, getting the fastest lap point of race 1, and as soon as he was through on Marvin Mackenberg, was able to then check out into the distance. Biblioni, the Argentine driver as well, is on the back of Onyan Opalic. So that's the fight for 13th place, a little bit further down. Nice to see battles pretty much any which way you look on this grid. Marvin Mackenberg switching, doesn't really know which way to go on Lloyd Bidoff, who was kind of cheeky in his racing line, but I don't think Marvin Mackenberg expected him to stay on the racing line. I thought he genuinely was going to be defensive, and that's why that late sort of half-hearted switch to the inside of Lloyd Bidoff was, well, exactly that, half-hearted from Marvin Mackenberg, who, by the way, like I say, has got Pavel Mukonin for company. 22 minutes, 43 seconds left to go. We got 17 laps out of race 1. Will we do the same for race number 2? Let's find out. Vadisavljevic there in 7th, one of the top drivers in terms of the standard of racecraft that he demonstrates, whether it's defensively, offensively, consistency. Vadisavljevic has got all of the ingredients that you need for a fantastic driver. If his pace was ever so slightly better, which again it has been this season, so many times this season, Vadisavljevic has been one of, if not the quickest driver on track. Of course, just to be informed, Stu Neal already out of this race before it really even got going. I did notice it on the last lap. Just too captivated by the fight to the front to really bring it to the attention. Stu Neal, though, yeah, as like I say, is out of this race. A shame for the driver who, coming into today, was sat at P8 in the championship. His battle with Sebastian Ray has been going on for quite some time, so the mid part of the top 10 still to be decided, and it's really going to be helping Sebastian Ray go for that, especially there in 6th place for the German driver. Further down, that's Pascal Jean-Priet, who unfortunately had a DNF in race 1. Wasn't a disconnect because he's been able to get back going again for race 2. But a DNF, another one to add to the tally of the Swiss driver. It's going to put him on the back foot in the championship. Well, he's already on the back foot. Nothing really can happen for PJP for season 4. Just got into that unfortunate sort of snowball effect of bad luck upon bad luck. And sometimes that is just how the cookie crumbles in sim racing. In motorsport, sort of generally, really, just been informed that it was a suspension issue for Kamano and Stu Neal. Kamano's out now. I'm not entirely sure if that was a suspension issue for him, but Stu Neal definitely. So potentially broken suspension for the pair of them. It was a big bumpy track, maybe too much sausage curb at some point, bending something. Do kind of need your suspension. Funnily enough, it does help. It is why it's there. 20 minutes 25 left to go. We've already ticked off 3 laps. We'll go back to start our 4th. A bit off, using all of the track and then some. I mean, there are some drivers that only go to the white line. There are some drivers that put 2 wheels over the white line onto that little banked bit that I keep mentioning on about this evening. But Lloyd Biddulph using all 4, only keeping enough tyre on the track, so obviously it's legal. He doesn't back down from using it, and any little helps in terms of the pursuit for the victory. Opening up turn number 2, the Andretti hairpin. Such an important part of nailing a lap at Laguna Seca. I've got to be honest, recently did some laps here on a Seca Corsa in the 650S GT3. What a track Laguna Seca is. When you nail a lap at Laguna Seca, you feel on top of the world. It is just one of those that has such a flow to it. The camber, the difficulty, the slim margin for error, the gravel either side of you. This track will chew you up and spit you out. It's basically a miniature Nürburgring in a lot of ways. By side a little bit further back, this is Pascal Jean-Pretre trying to move his way through on Zvonimir Burek, the Croatian driver, I want to say, based on the flag. Darragh Thacker would know, he's good with his flags, he likes his geoguessing and stuff. But yeah, Burek just down behind PJP, looks to the inside once again for a counter-attack. That's thwarted from Jean-Pretre. 18.5 minutes, by the way. We've ticked off 4 laps now, onto our 5th, so just keeping you updated as to the score. As to how many we're expecting. About 17 laps at the very least is what we got out of race 1. Of course, a big reminder, thank you to our sponsors of Stu Andretti's garage, and of course Garage DuPont as well. Without the support, we couldn't go racing with the amount of prize money that we do have, so make sure to go and show them some love in the description below. Check them out, what they offer, and show them some love, just some appreciation. Thank you from the T6 family for their constant and continued support of the series. Sven Mackenberg there in 9th place. He's not had the... I don't want to say he's not had a good season, because in a lot of ways he has. It's Sven Mackenberg always fighting with his brother Marvin, week in, week out. I remember when they first joined the championship, and when we took to the Nürburgring, was it season 3? Last season when we first saw the Mackenberg brothers take to the stage of the Super Touring Championship, and they were trading podiums, they were trading wins, they were working together so well. Maybe it's a Civic thing. Obviously Sven Mackenberg, one of very few, if not the only Civic, apart from Nikita Gror and track. Maybe it's a Civic thing. Maybe it's just been a bit of bad luck. By his own admission, he's just saying qualifying hasn't been going his way. He's had to do a couple of last to first challenges throughout the season, and maybe that's affected him, that snowball effect, especially as Boyan Kabaya looks to go to the outside, or sorry, Jorge Prieto looks to go to the outside of the corkscrew, and Sven Mackenberg gets caught with his pants around his ankles through one of the most iconic corners in all of racing. So demoted down to 10th place now from 9th. Jorge Prieto up 3 places from his initial get-go. Slowly crouching into half distance. Jules Oyster from Gregor Kijek from Lloyd Bidoff still, by the way. These three not been able to leave each other alone, and I have to say I'm really impressed with Jules Oyster. Been so well driven this season. Has that Hyundai at the hands of the Flying Dutchman, who week in, week out continues to impress. I mean, his championship position has got to be one of his best ever. P6 for him. And net gains all round, by the way, on Nenad Vadisavljevic. So he's going to move his way into top 5 in the championship after this evening, provided obviously he stays on track for race 2. But what a season it's been. He's been so bulletproof. The consistency has been there. The pace has been there. And right now he's got 2 of the championship leaders, or the 2 championship leaders of Kijek and Bidoff. 2 tyrants of the championship, a double champion, and one that has ascended his way to T6 sort of infamy, maybe. Just one of those drivers that you look at and go, yeah, no, you're quick. You know those people that when you go to your local karting centre, they show up with all the gear and their nice helmet, their nice gloves, their nice boots, and you look at them and you go, yeah, you're a quick guy. That is what Gregor Kijek is to this championship. Everyone knows how good he is. So for Jules Oyster to be keeping them at bay, very, very well, in fact, I might add as well. Yeah, he's doing all right. Pavel Mikonen, by the way, wants to find his way through on Marvin Mackenberg, but Mackenberg continues to be incredibly stubborn. Albeit, I would just let Pavel Mikonen go and drive onto the back of the top 3, to be honest. I mean, Pavel Mikonen now going to look to go to the inside of turn number 2. I don't think Marvin Mackenberg is going to be too eager to give him a lot of space. Pavel Mikonen then forced to concede. Nicely done from Marvin Mackenberg. Front, that's wide from Gregor Kijek, puts him on the back foot. Lloyd Bidoff closes the gap, but not by enough to really launch much of a move. It's going to allow Jules Oyster to ever so slightly creep his way away, just by a couple of car lengths or so. Still not out of the danger zone just yet, but Marvin Mackenberg's defending has sort of really dropped him off the back of Lloyd Bidoff and ruined anyone's chances of contending for a podium. I mean, he's in 4th place, and whether it's pace or a lack of adequate execution for Pavel Mikonen and losing time, and Pavel Mikonen, we know from race 1, has got the pace to catch and close in on anyone on this grid based on his pace. Let him go in front, let him lead the train, bring you guys back into contention, because otherwise you're going to be sat there in 4th place. That's it, you're capped. Drop to 5th, take the brunt of it, take the punt, and then allow yourself to close in, right? Use Pavel Mikonen to your advantage. He doesn't have to be strictly an opponent, he can be your means to an end. Use him as the tool that drives you to the back of the top 3, but maybe not getting the memo as we're now over half distance in this race. 12 minutes and 13 seconds left to go. Backwards from Jules Oyster's point of view, and that's menacing. I mean, like I was saying earlier, Gregor Kijek and Lloyd Bidoff, 2 people I'd rather not have in my mirrors. Marvin Mackenberg, though, swapping places. That's Sebastian Ray on his inside. He's found his way through. Vadisavljevic there as well. Mikonen then very clearly found his way through at some point this lap. And this has really turned it on its head. 1 position gone from Marvin Mackenberg, and the scales has tipped. He's gone to the inside of the final corner, but to the outside, of course, goes. That's, of course, Vadisavljevic trying to find his way through. He's got the pedal down, and he's going to be able to have the straight line speed. He's going to take 6th place from Marvin Mackenberg, who goes from a sensational 4th place down to 7th. for whatever reason, losing the momentum, sends it immediately on Vadisavljevic, the tank himself, who swoops to the outside, sees it coming. Marvin Mackenberg going to try and bully him to the outside and give him as little space as possible, but backing down does not happen when it comes to Vadisavljevic. He is a machine. Potentially damage from Marvin Mackenberg, maybe something sustained at some point in terms of the contact. Maybe that's explaining as to the slight disparity in terms of pace that again can happen. Less than 10 minutes to go. And the fight at the front still remains Oysa, Hujek, Bidolf, maybe Mukkonen. Now he's in front of Marvin Mackenberg. The beast is unleashed. Let's see if Mukkonen can. I'd love him too. I mean, doing the double would be insane at Laguna Seca. Of course, there are a lot of steps to climb between now and then. As the Lloyd Bidolf looking to the outside of Gregor Hujek. Not quite anything materialising on this occasion though. Don't forget that Gregor Hujek will be fielding slightly more ballast compared to Lloyd Bidolf. The outside as well, that is Jorge Prieto, the Spaniard on the back of Rhys Butcher, who now once again finds himself inside the top 10. So off the back of just missing out because of Bowen Kabaya in race 1, Rhys Butcher has been able to fight back and put himself back into a pretty decent position. Long way off, of course, the top 7, who really have been head and shoulders above the rest this evening. Oysa, Hujek, Bidolf, Mukkonen, Sebastian Ray, Vadisavljevic, Mackenberg, of course, all of whom have been really, really strong. But behind that, you know, from 8th downwards, it's been a mosh pit. Really, really close competition. Ducking and diving as well. Lloyd Bidolf trying to find a way through on Gregor Hujek. Not really anything materialising just yet, but he is searching for it. Pavel Mukkonen continues to reel the front 3 in as well. Oh my goodness me, a huge look there from Lloyd Bidolf. I'm not entirely sure if that was intentional, but it was late on the brakes and did momentarily, I think, scare Gregor Hujek, who just gave a little bit of give. Just in case Lloyd Bidolf came in steaming up his inside. And those are the sort of mind punts that kind of do actually help in some capacity. If Lloyd Bidoff was able to get it stopped, but give it the impression that he was coming in hot, the inside would have been opened up. Maybe that's something he needs to try. Shaw's Oyster as well is going to be loving the fact that those two are going to continue to battle. Minutes left on the clock, lap 13, so we're going to be going for 4 more laps if we are lucky, maybe 3. Again, just depends on the pace they've been running. I think we had about a 20-second give in race 1 for another lap. I don't think we've quite been running that slowly for race 2. Defensive though, Shaw's Oyster. Greg Hujek now going to be trying to pull the pin and start firing. There's a look to the inside from Lloyd Bidoff once more. Doesn't quite have the overlap. Pavel Mukkonen now starting to be reeled into contention. Lloyd Bidoff tries to look to facilitate a move to the outside of turn number 3. That's not going to work, but the up and under could. And the defensive manoeuvres from Greg Hujek. He's thinking about the championship. Lloyd Bidoff thinking about the race win. And Shaw's Oyster, nothing apart from victory on his mind. He is trying to get as far away from the squabbling rivals as he can. He wants no part in it. And an easy victory for him would be very welcomed, I'm sure. Pavel Mukkonen now has arrived. He's one of the quickest drivers here at Laguna Seca. He has conquered at this track on the western coast of the USA. Well, not on the coast, but that side. See if Greg Hujek can reel back in Shaw's Oyster, because then we'd have a fight for the lead, but Shaw's Oyster needs to not be looking in his mirrors. Right now, he's got enough of a gap where there isn't anything realistically Greg Hujek can do on the brakes, right? You're not going to gain half a second on the brakes. You're not going to get close enough. So don't focus about that. Hit your braking markers, hit your turning points, your accelerating points, nail your racing lines, and get away. But it's not been the case. Greg Hujek has reeled himself right back into it and is still latched on the back of Shaw's Oyster. Lloyd Bidoff versus Pavel Mukkonen as well. That's the fight for 3rd. They're breaking away ever so slightly. Actually, I think maybe Bidoff trying to defend, and in doing so, maybe doing himself a little bit of harm. 3 minutes left to go in this race, lap 15. So we're going to have, well, 3 more to go. 2 more to go at the line. Not into that left-hander, surely, of all places. There's not really anywhere worse around this track, apart from maybe the corkscrews go for a desperate lunge like that. You've got to think brave about it, but equally not stupid. Facilitate a move at Laguna Seca. 2 minutes 26 on the clock. We're about to head on to the penultimate lap of the race. 2 more to go. A welcome sight for some. As we're towards the tail end of this championship. Marvin Mackenberg down in 7th. Suspected maybe some damage sustained at some point in this race. He went from 4th, comfortably fighting that train, to now down in 7th and way off the back of where he wants to be. Still in contention with Vadisavljevic and Sebastian Rey, so top 5 still possible for Marvin Mackenberg, who clearly came into today the man on form. He's not that bad at Laguna Seca pace-wise, but maybe some misfortune. Defensive goes Sebastian Rey as Vadisavljevic looks to go to the outside. This time he's going to double back, go underneath him, up over the sausage curb, and that's going to be a big old squeeze from Sebastian Rey. He's not able to tuck back in as Vadisavljevic, so Marvin Mackenberg looks to the inside of turn 3, trying to send it the wrong way round though. Vadisavljevic, nicely done. Marvin Mackenberg still able to keep his nose in as they approach turn number 4. Nicely done as the German driver swoops his way through. Vadisavljevic goes onto the gravel. Is he able to keep his foot pinned and keep it side by side? Great respectful racing between the pair of them in the fight for 6th. The penultimate lap of the race, and Vadisavljevic just about is able to hold firm and keep the German behind. to get up the hill towards turn 7, ducking and diving and searching for the gap to the inside, but Marvin Mackenberg, like I said on the last lap, not going to happen through there. Way too wide, losing that momentum on the exit of that fast left-hander. Back to the front, 4 cars, nose to tail, 1 lap left to go. Oyser, Hujek, Bidolf, Mukonen, all of whom inside the top 5 in the championship as things stand. All 4 of whom sit within the top 4 spaces of this race as well. Jules Oyser searching for, I believe, will be his first win of the season. But it's not going to be without some hard work. He's got side by side with Gregor Hujek. Final lap of the race here at Laguna Seca for event number 6 of the T6 Motorsport Super Touring Championship number 4. Pavel Mukonen looks to the outside of Lloyd Bidolf. The gap opens up. Gregor Hujek trying to set up the switchback, but have to be mindful of those drivers behind you as well. Over the social curb, careful not to get too involved on 2 wheels there. We saw a number of times how easy it is to flip the car, surprisingly. Especially at Laguna Seca, the social curbs are monstrously high. Who's going to be the one to come out on top, though? I believe it's probably between the 2 of Oyser versus Hujek, unless Bidolf or Mukonen are able to get some really supreme runs, sensational runs. However you want to word it in terms of the S words, there's a lot that you can use. That's deep though from Jules Oyser. There is going to be a double back from Gregor Hujek. Is it going to be enough though to set up and facilitate the move with just 2 corners left to go now? Lloyd Bidolf on the back of his championship rival. He wants to swing the scales in his favour going into the final 2 rounds of this championship. The final lap of the race, and it seems there's not going to be much that Gregor Hujek can do. Lloyd Bidolf has to go defensive though. Pavel Mukonen tries to sweep to the outside, and boxed in there on the apex is Lloyd Bidolf. He's going to drop his way to 4th. Gregor Hujek with some supreme racecraft. It's a drag race between Mukonen and Bidolf, but it's Jules Oyser that takes victory here at Laguna Seca for race 2. Round number 12 of the T6 Motorsport Super Touring Championship, season number 4. What a race at the front. And Pavel Mukonen take a bow to snatch the podium off Lloyd Bidolf. And Gregor Hujek, insanely genius to have boxed him on the apex, stopped Bidolf from getting that run and allowing Mukonen the chance to go to the outside. Now that was clever, and keeps Hujek in the championship lead, extending the gap from what was 1 after race 1 to what is now going to be a healthy 5 once again. Jules Oyser victorious here at Laguna Seca. Gregor Hujek extending the gap in the championship from Pavel Mukonen and Lloyd Bidolf. Sebastian Ray, top 5 for the German, and the fastest lap to go with it. Fast lap of the entire evening as well, I believe, 31.0. Vlada Sablovic from Marvin Mackenberg, from Rust Butcher and Sven Mackenberg. Jorge Prieto, the entirety of the top 10. Pascal Jean Prieto from the back of the grid up to P11. A mighty drive for the Swiss drivers. Vladimir Burek from Kabaya, Biblioni, Onjanopolic, Nikita Gror, just shy of some point scoring positions today. Piotr Blackjack, JC Camarno and Stu Neal are DNFs of, unfortunately, race number 2. 2 of whom, unfortunately, didn't even get a lap time in. One of whom, unfortunately, deciding to DNF at some point throughout race number 2. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as upset as I am going to be to say goodbye, we are going to have to do it at some point. But there you can see we take a trip to the Netherlands. We take to the Circuit Assen. And what a circuit it is. Legendary in its own right for time attacks and pretty much any discipline of racing heads here. We head here in a week's time for the penultimate round of Season 4. My name has been Zach Sweeney. I've been talking you through all of the action. The championship fight at the front, close as ever. It's Gregor Hujek versus Lloyd Bidolf, and we'll see you back in a week's time. It's goodbye for now.